Going to be deep diving on how to use generative AI in the procurement industry. Is anyone using generative AI currently? We've got a couple. Okay, well, a great session if you are interested in that. Sarah Omar is the sales director for the MENA region and Turkey at Evalua. Now, they are considered a leader in digital procurement and one of the first who has actually launched real use cases of generative AI in procurement today. Now, they have around a dozen early adopter clients globally that are now using generative AI to be able to do things like improve efficiency as well as performance in their procurement processes. And I think it's an important step really in helping pave the way for the procurement industry as a whole to really get an understanding of how this can transform the way you do business. So Sarah joins us this afternoon to shed light on just how to build a roadmap for using generative AI when it comes to procurement. She is going to share a number of real life cases with you and help you pinpoint how to choose the right kind of generative AI, how to identify the key risks, and of course, how to overcome them as well. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage Sarah Omar.
Yeah, I think I'm audible. Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Can I have a clicker, please? Sorry, I didn't get a clicker. Assalamu alaikum, everyone, and good to see you all today. My name is Sarah Omar. I represent Evalua in the Middle East, and today I'll talk about how to plan your roadmap for developing generative AI in e-procurement. Thank you very much. Thank you. But before I start my presentation, I actually wanted to reflect on today, if you allow me a few minutes just to reflect on the day and where we arrived to. I'm actually one of the very oldest members of CIPS in the region. I remember summer 2010, 14 years ago, even before Sam joining CIPS. We were a group of 8 MCIPS professionals in UAE, and we met together and we wanted to start the first branch for CIPS in the region. And that was even before CIPS formed its office. And I am really wowed and impressed that where we are today, where did we arrive to? 14 years onwards, I can see the numbers, I can see the people, it makes me proud. And I believe my journey in CIPS was always a very close to my heart type of journey where I had achieved many successes and firsts. But I believe what I can see today and in these years of the number of procurement professionals gathering around the institute and elevating the profile of the profession makes me really very proud. I think this success, and Sam might also agree with me, him and his team, is attributed to all of these volunteers. And you all are volunteers. You volunteer your time, you volunteer your effort to elevate your local branches, your local teams, to network, to volunteer your time and come and add value. So I think all of us, we deserve a round of applause for actually taking the time and making sure that we are successful. And I also served with CIPS as a board member in the past. I was actually representing the Middle East in the board. And one of the things I always commented, and I commented about it last night, is that there are many similar royal institutes, like, for example, Chartered Institute of Marketing, Professional Development, Logistics and Transport, but I've never seen the amount of interest, collaboration, and membership growth that I have seen with procurement and supply in the Middle East. And that's really an achievement attributed to everyone here. So thank you for attending my session today. Thank you for taking the time to listen to the presentation. And I really appreciate us being here today in the first CIPS and Awards Day in Riyadh in Saudi Arabia. So generative AI. Maybe basically, I just want to give a quick introduction. If you haven't heard about Evalua before, we are a provider, one of the leading solutions in e-procurement domain and best-of-breed application, and we specialize in e-procurement solutions. Recently, as all other technologies in the market and all the innovations that you can all hear about, we started to investigate and we started to research generative AI and how we can embed it into applications and what can procurement benefit from it. So is generative AI an actual value to procurement, or is it a hype? If you remember the days of the blockchain, of the RPA, there were many innovations and breakthroughs that came into technology, and we were trying to understand where would we have synergy between these technologies and procurement practices. Some of them helped us. I know that a lot of organizations, for example, benefited from RPA in automating their purchase order cycles and fulfillment with suppliers. However, there's still not much of a maturity in utilizing it. And now we have this new addition. We have the generative AI. Maybe generative AI, if I want first to probably give like a basic understanding for all of us. What is generative AI? It's more of an AI component or an AI technology that allows the generation of text and content to be presented to the user. So if you think about it, it's more like the ChatGPT that everybody knows. So it is more of content creation and text generation and recommendations. Then when you want to think about it from a concept of procurement operations, where would I benefit from it? Yes, it sounds good. Generative AI is a new innovation and a new breakthrough, but where would it help in procurement? Where would it add value? It can help, as I said, in creating content, in analyzing document, and in researching the web. These are the three parameters that generative AI can help you. And I always want to say that AI is not a sci-fi, magical wand that will help us to solve all our problems, but we need to understand each and every part of these components and how we can utilize it. So when I talk about creating content, maybe generative AI will help me in writing my RFPs. If I am in a new category that I'm not familiar with, and I need a tool to help me create my category questionnaires, my scoring criteria, and my formats, then generative AI can help me. It can also help me in analyzing documents. And we've seen earlier there was a gentleman presenting the chatbot which analyzes contracts. Similarly, it can help me analyze a contract, summarize a contract, analyze an RFP response from several suppliers and provides me a comparison matrix which can help me to make a decision. Or it can help me also to research the web, where I can bring in new suppliers, or I can also get more insight into commodity pricing and category management. So whenever you think of generative AI or you hear about generative AI, try to think of it from these three factors. It researches the web, it can help you to analyze documents, and it can help you in creating the content. This is majorly what Gen AI can do. However, one of the things that we also need to understand that when you deploy a generative AI technology, AI itself is based on machine learning. We all know what is machine learning. Machine learning is the computational side that allows certain statistical models to learn from the data across the web and provide you with input, either content, result, answers. The brain behind it, or the main factor, is called the LLM, which is the large language models, the LLMs. Now, the challenge with the LLMs is that if I want my generative AI to speak to the LLM, bring me recommendation, or bring me content, that LLM is learning from somewhere, because it's learning from somebody's data. The LLM is not built in vacuum. The big companies like Microsoft and others, when they started to build their LLMs, they fed it 20 years worth of data from the internet so that it can give you some intelligent answer, because it got all of the data into the LLM and then started to form content which can help you in generating content, analyzing document. Now the question will be to you, if you want a technology that uses generative AI to help you to bring this new innovation into your systems, your data will go to the LLM. If I am in an aluminum industry and I want aluminum industry specific information from the generative AI, it means that it is reading from another aluminum industry provider, and vice versa, it will take your data. So there is always the concept of AI is good, technology is there, but you need to be aware of where are your boundaries, what is your policy with regards to data sharing, because that brain, that LLM, learns from our data. It does not learn from vacuum. It learns from our data. So one of the things is that we need to make sure whenever you're choosing a technology, is my data available to other customers? Is my data used to train other third-party LLMs? That's important for you to know. Is it stored anywhere other than your system? And this is important. That's where I always say that people would follow the hype and follow the new innovation without sometimes really understanding the context behind it. And the context of the LLM is data sharing. So what we tried to do in Evalua, because that again took us time actually to learn how to roll out Gen AI in a safe and sustainable model to the market. So what we've tried to do is, first of all, we want it to be embedded in the application. So the Gen AI is embedded so that when I do a transaction, the system takes the information from Gen AI into the system. Like, for example, if I want to do web search for suppliers, the Gen AI will bring the suppliers and will push them into my RFP without me doing any manual input. If I want to write an RFP, it will create the forms and create the questionnaire for me to review and approve and then publish. So it has to be embedded. So we've done that. We've embedded it in the tool. And it has to be secure. And that is the important part, which is the data is not stored outside your Evalua application. It is not shared with other third parties. And it is not used to train other LLMs. And this is where you need to have synergy and alignment with your IT and what is their policy. Because the whole concept of the SLLM, again, is data sharing and data learning models. So what we've done is that we wanted to build it in a way to ensure to our customers that it is not being shared with other customers and it is not used to train third-party LLMs. We use an LLM which has a policy of forget data. So it gives you the answer and forgets your data. It gives you the answer and forgets your data. And that's the important thing that you need to think about when you want to adopt. Second, it has to be adaptable. So we also built our Gen AI technology in a way that clients can build their own use cases. You don't need Evalua to program and code more use cases for you. You could say, I want the AI to help me in this part, and I have a certified Evalua consultant. They can build your own Gen AI use cases. And also it's smart, so it uses internal knowledge and internet data. So it uses either your data or the internet based on the use case itself. So these are the factors that we wanted to consider when we built our Gen AI and when we advise customers to develop their own roadmap towards generative AI. First, we need to understand what does generative AI do. So as we said, it's content creation, internet search, or text recommendation. And also there is the aspect of the LLM, which feeds into the Gen AI. And this is where you need to align with your IT and your policy on regards to data sharing. One of the solutions we availed as well is that we do not dictate that the customer uses our LLM. We can integrate the system to your LLM, which is your in-house LLM, or your recommended LLM, because that's where you trust where your data goes. Again, it's about data sharing and data and machine learning. There are a couple of use cases, for example, which if you have the time, you can pass by us in the booth outside and we can share videos with you. One of them is, for example, this one where the LLM, the Gen AI, which is a small chatbot at the side of the screen, is called Eva. It's like a mini assistant sitting next to you in the screen. You can ask Eva to write content. I want to share a mass email with certain categories of suppliers to update them about my new invoicing policy. It will write the email, select the suppliers once you approved, and it will send the mass communication. Second, it can also, for example, in this case, summarize a contract. And in the cases of summarizing a contract or providing you with specific answers, it gives you all the questions that you need to ask about the contract and what type of summary it can provide you. Here it can also generate for you an improvement plan. I have a problem with a certain supplier. These are the KPIs that I built for the supplier. What is the improvement plan that I can have for that supplier in place? The Gen AI will write an improvement plan against these KPIs. Once you approve it, it will publish it to the supplier and help you to work with the supplier to improve their performance. It can also, for example, gives you details about invoice, research the invoice, and gives you more intel about what is the invoice, what are the due amounts, and so on and so forth. And all of that is embedded in the system. The data is embedded in the system, and it's not integrated from outside. And that's the important thing about it, which I mentioned, that we embedded the application, the Gen AI, which is the Eva assistant, in the system, and it works as it feeds into the transaction. So it gives the information to the right of the screen. Once you approve it, then it moves it into the actual transaction. It can find suppliers. For example, you want to find suppliers in Saudi Arabia for packaging. It can search the internet, bring suppliers and pushing them into your supplier database or your RFQ. It can also help you to monitor the trend of the performance and risk levels of the suppliers. And all of that is done through this mini chatbot, or I call it like a mini secretary, sitting on the side of the screen and helping you in these transactions. Not going to expand more on it. However, if you are interested to know more about our use cases of generative AI, please feel free to pass by us at the booth and we can show you some videos of it as it's working. However, I just wanted to leave you with a few ideas about what is generative AI, what is exactly can it do. It does not do magic, it does not replace humans, and there are considerations with regard to the large language model where you need to understand what is possible for you to share to the LLM or not, or you have your own LLMs. That is another topic for conversation. We have an event, 30th of May in Abu Dhabi, Yas Marina. If you are all welcome to register, use this QR code. You can attend because we are focusing more on AI and new innovations around AI. Thank you very much for your time, and thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. Thank you.